Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to share something that I found quite interesting. I'm reading this book here, Mystical Dimensions of Islam, written by Anne-Marie Schimmel. What this book is about is the field of tasawwuf, which is Islamic spirituality, or also known as the field of ihsan, and the history and the development of this field called tasawwuf. Starting off with the zuhad, the people who used to renunciate all of the luxuries of the world, and then the early mutasawwifin, or the early Sufis, and what they contributed to the field, and then culminating into the turuq and the different schools of tasawwuf, if you will, that came later on. So I was reading regarding Dhu'n Nūn al-Miṣrī, who was this very pious individual who had these beautiful statements. And so it says here, he met a woman at the seashore and asked her, "What is the end of love?" And she answered, "O simpleton, love has no end." And he asked, "Why?" She said, "Because the beloved has no end." So this really struck me. He's basically talking about his love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is an allegory. He says that a person met a woman by the seashore. He asked her, "What is love?" Or he asked her, "What is the end of love?" And she was like, "What's wrong with you? How could you say there's an end to love?" And this is in the context of loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She says, "There's no end to love because the beloved doesn't end." It's really deep. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no end. And our love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should never end because of that. If you think about why we love an individual, we love them due to some type of attribute they have. Some kind of trait this person has that makes us love that person. Now if you talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what are the traits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The most beautiful. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَدُعُوهُ بِهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the most beautiful names, the most beautiful sifat and attributes. Call Him with them. So when you realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has these beautiful attributes and you realize it's infinite, your love will only grow. And our love grows for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the more we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is there a limit to knowing Allah? No. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rahmah, His mercy, His love, His attributes, His power, His knowledge are infinite. So you can literally infinitely love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's only based off of how much you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how much effort you put in to recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and worshipping Him. I hope this quote was of benefit to you. Please keep me in your du'as. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.